So today we are joined by Xiaoyin, founder of HeyBoss.
Guys.
Hopefully he's still the CEO. Because you fired yourself a couple of days ago with Astra. We know more stories about her. So Xiaoyin, she's like a serious entrepreneur. Before this, she built other couple companies before, and we will know today more about her story and HeyBoss and everything about her. She moved from China when she was 18 years old, and she jumped into the American dream. I did some research, American dream, and but when she got the American dream, she fired herself. We will know so, Xiaoyin, welcome to the show, AI Founders Show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Xiaoyin Qu. I'm the founder and ex-CEO of HeyBoss AI. I actually recently got replaced by AI. Astra is now the new AI CEO of the company, and she's also the world's first AI CEO. Happy to talk about that. And more about me. I was born and raised in China, went to US when I was 18 for college. Then I worked there for 10 years, and I've been a serial entrepreneur for, I don't know, 6 years now. So this is my second venture-backed company. Really excited to be here.
Awesome. Just to make a little bit more about HeyBoss, at least what I googled or I chat GPT. It's a company backed by OpenAI, Amazon. We can talk more about that. So the first one, can you tell me more about your journey? You started with Stanford, as we talked early, and then you left Stanford. What made you kind of leave university and build
Well, so first of all, it's an MBA program. So I already worked at Facebook, Instagram. I started my career at Facebook, Instagram. I was an early product manager at Instagram for 2-3 years at Meta, and then I left, and then I joined MBA. And after a year, during the summer, I came up with the idea of doing virtual events. So back then it was a new thing. It was before COVID. So it was let's live stream all the events so people can from all over the world can attend it. And we quickly make a lot of money. And then we got and Jason Horowitz to be the basically our VC. And then I just quit. I quit GSB. I quit Stanford MBA and to start around the world. So that was 2019. And then obviously COVID hit right after we launched, the same exact week that we launched is COVID hit. So all the conferences got canceled. They all came to us. It was like an explosive growth period of time. So we quickly grew the team and everything. But then COVID's over, in 2 years. So our growth stalled. So we sold the company 2023. And that's when I started a new one. So that's how I started HeyBoss.
Yeah, when I checked it, I think around the world, I think I watched your video, you were doing photo with Forbes or I think at least it's on your LinkedIn. That's so Hey Boss also I mentioned early kind of you being backed by OpenAI, and you mentioned also certain posts that it was a pivot. Can you tell me a little bit about the story, how it started, and what's made the pivot? And I will follow up with more questions about it also.
Yeah, sure. So end of 2023, I started the company called Hio. So originally we're a gaming studio that we make games for kids for educational purposes. So the way it works is that we have educator. They're like, okay, let's teach kids about space. Let's teach kids about dinosaurs. And then we have this AI agent that helps educator build the game for kid. And actually that's the that's the inception of Astra, our AI agent. So it originally was brainstorming game idea. Educators say, let's teach kids dinosaur, and then the AI agent will brainstorm game ideas. Then quickly we start asking the AI agent to build those games too. So we're basically training those agents to be better. And obviously, as the AI can learn by themselves, they can proactively learning new skills doing research. So I would say 4 months ago, we realized our agent can not only build game, they can also build website and apps. And that is interesting thing because kids gaming is maybe a few $1 billion a year industry, but website and apps are 100x bigger. So it's if you have an agent that can also build website and apps, it's kind of silly to not to pivot, do something way bigger. So that's when we decided to make our agent a separate product. Instead of selling games, we're going to sell this agent, and that's how we launched HeyBoss a few months ago. And originally we started as a coding co-pilot, so people can describe their idea, and then it's kind of like a natural language. They can help you code. But last week we have changed from a co-pilot to an autopilot, meaning now we have a team of 7 AI employees. So there's an AI product manager, there's AI content writer, there's an AI designer, and AI front end and AI back end developers. And together, under the leadership of AI CEO, they can work together as a team. So that means a person, which AKA the customer, does not need to prompt all the way through. They just need to say one sentence, I want to make a website for my company, or I want to make an app that does blah. And then the AI team will figure out exactly what's the product requirement document, what is the design's going to look like, and they're going to code everything. So one prompt, it'll give you the final product in 9 minutes. So including all the design, all the back end, all the front end, all the databases, everything. So you can launch a whole thing in 9 minutes. So that's the biggest update, I would say, from Copilot all the way to autopilot now.
I think that's actually I tried it. Just like for the record, I think like it took a little bit more than 9 minutes, probably like 12 minutes or
You
so
have
for
a
me.
lot of
Like,
server right now, a lot of server pressure because a lot of people want to try it. Yeah.
yeah, like I think I tried it last week when you announced, like a couple 5 6 days ago when you announced it. So before that, you mentioned, like I remember, like you one of your posts, like the word first AI engineer, and then like the word first AI CEO. I think you briefly
Right.
like
So
mentioned
what's
that.
first AI engineer for non-technical people? That was originally when we started. So
Okay,
it was the first engineer, I think, is Devon, but that's for technical people. So
yeah.
yeah, so 3 months ago was the first AI engineer for non-technical people. Yeah, so that's how we define ourselves back then. But now it's the first AI dev team, essentially not just engineer, but also product manager and designers as well.
Like if I remember, like Devon was a software engineer, not AI engineer.
Oh, I see. I guess
Yeah, like
the
I think it's kind of
that's true.
Devon
That's
more like the software engineer. I think
that's
you
true.
mentioned AI engineer. I don't know what's. It's
So
kind of
we're more like yeah, we're more
okay.
like basically personal engineer for people who are not technical. We've always been helping non-technical people, starting from helping educator making games,
Mhm.
which is like they're not technical at all. They can't even like use, and they don't even understand what is back end, what is front end, right? So
Yeah.
and so that is always being our core demographic. Now it's just like instead of learning how to prompt, which before we have to teach them prompting
Hmm.
lessons, like going to like a prompting academy. Here's the 5 prompting engineer tricks you can learn. They don't need to do that anymore. They can just
Yeah.
say one sentence, right? I want to do this, and then AI will figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. And like speaking of, like for example, when the AI doing everything and multiple agents, like sometimes when we watch those open AI launches and they start talking, like for example, like the first thing that surprised them, like after they tested, like so for you, like because for me, I tested, I was like, oh, this is impressive. I built an AI therapy app with it, like with HeyBoss. So that moment, like when you saw like the first results of it, how can you describe more details about like Astra and how you felt about it? Like I mean, like.
Yeah. So I guess just to give everybody some context. So right now the experience is, let's say you describe your idea. You could say one sentence or two, like I want to build a website for maybe like a Dr. Abu for the podcast. And then you will see an internal Slack group where all the AI agent will have a conversation, right? So the AI CEO will be like, okay, we need to build Dr. Abu a podcast website. Any ideas? And then the AI designer will be like, I think we should use like this cyberpunk theme, and then the AI content writer will chime in as well. So you can see the entire discussion thread among all of the AI employees so that the customer really understand what's going on. And then basically just 9 minutes, they will figure out everything. They will build everything. They will test everything. It's bug free. And then you have a final product that you can ready to launch. And then we help you host the product too. So we help you build. We also help you design. We also help you host. So that's the general take. I would say like the biggest thing that I learned is like when I realized that AI agent, aka like Astra, when she's managing those AI employee, she is doing a way better job than me because I guess I'm better at managing human employees. But when we realize our AI agent can fully automate the human work, so they can fully automate the AI product manager, fully automate the human designer and developer, it is much easier for AI CEO to manage AI employees than human CEO trying to catch up to all, like, what is this thread going on, what is that thread going on. It makes no sense for me to even compete against the AI CEO when it comes to managing those people, managing those AI employees, in parallel. She can manage like thousands, if not millions of projects all at once, right? So each employee can work multiple thread all at once. So it's impossible for me to compete against that. That's when I realized, okay, I think it's time for me to not be the CEO. I'm happy to be on board, but she's doing a much better job than me. So right now, long story short, she's taking over everything that a human CEO would take. Number one is serving all customers. Number two is managing all employees, aka AI employees. Number three is proactively identify product improvement because we have a lot of data on what the customer like, which part do they not like, do they convert, do they not convert. So she can use those data to really understand how can we improve the product proactively, and they can do research to improve as a team as well.
Speaking like because I'm a CEO myself, like kind of, like there is more, like for example, this is just like to follow up like the naming of it, AI CEO, and in my impression, or like maybe some of the audience, they would be like, maybe this is AI CTO. somebody, because because AI SEO, like, I mean, we talk about marketing, we talk about sales, fundraising. There is more element like problems, HR, like, you know, is that, and even if, for example, let's say, yeah, it's a SEO, is it the roadmap also you want to jump into these kind of like sectors, or like kind of verticals, like of the functions of the role of the SEO?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the company itself, HeyBoss now, is an AI dev agency. So it does whatever the AI dev, it does whatever the freelance agency do, right? For example, today, if you want to build a website, you want to build an app, you go to Fiverr, you hire some kind of Pakistani or Indian team,
Yeah.
right? Where there's some agencies in the New York, and they help you build everything. And typically, those agencies have designer, they have content writer, they have SEO marketer, they have product manager, they have developers, and then you talk to the like some kind of customer representative person, and then the entire team will work for you. So we're entirely replacing that kind of company. And there's like that's like $100 billion industry in terms of like contracting firms, and that helps you build things, right?
Yeah, that's so. Speaking of like, I mean, I totally get who's your customers, since you mentioned like, there is, I think, in the world, like, probably statistically less than 1% people can code, and like a lot of like, so 99%, it's a huge industry. And I saw also your design is more like Canva style, which I like it. I remember when I built the AI therapy app within HeyBoss, it suggests me also what kind of like API to use, or blah blah, like kind of related kind of to integrate. Um, like the current target audience, like, do you think is they should be kind of more technical people, because there is a raise of vibe coding, some kind of, there is also, like, I would say there is a debate, maybe you can give us more light about, super technical people who kind of against AI, like if you tell them this, they would be like, nah, it's not there yet. Can you unpack this kind of more details about it, like?
Yeah, so we have finance like so the way our system works is that we basically like you say in an idea. Let's say you say I want to make an AI girlfriend that send me cute pictures.
Yeah.
You don't need to say that I need to use this particular image gen API because you probably don't understand how to do that. So we will figure out. PM is figuring out. Okay, you probably need some image gen API. Then technical, which is the engineer, they will say, okay, we can connect, we can help you integrate. And essentially, we are paying for all the API. You are paying us. We just give you the final result. So initially, obviously, when we first designed the product, we were targeting the 99% that are not only don't code, but also not technical, meaning they not only do not know code, but they also don't understand what is front end, what is back end. All they can describe is I want an AI girlfriend that send me cute picture. No, it's not cute enough. That's the type of feedback they have, right? So we need to understand what it means. Where a user will be like, those buttons are not intuitive. Then we have to understand what the heck does intuitive mean in this particular scenario. We're like, there are too many buttons. We have to figure out which button like is not necessary that we have to cut, right? So that's kind of how we originally designed the system. We're thinking if we can do that, we can serve the 99%. I think the reality right now is that we realize a lot of engineers and product managers are preferring to use us over some more technical solution too, because it's really hard for engineer to know how to do product marketing, to know how to do content, to master at both front end and back end. Typically, engineer they're really good at back end, then they're not really good at front end. So it's hard for them to crystallize what they want to build. If they're really good at front end, typically they're not really good at back end. So they don't really know how to like integrate those things. So because we can do everything, it's much easier that they just use us. We can do zero to like maybe 90%. The 10% is where you can like download the code or customize whatever, but you don't really need to jumpstart from the beginning. So I think that is the part that we're really, really good at. I think a lot of the technical people like us, not because they cannot do the job, but because it's much easier to spend 9 minutes doing it all the way through 90%, and they just do the 10%. It's much more rewarding than set up dependency, set up environment variables, all of that stuff. Oh, what the fuck is that? So that's why engineers like us. Product manager, we also realized that we have a shot on like some of those like very like prototype related cases. Typically is like this is the user flow, the user complaint is really confusing, let's make it better. So when you use maybe other tools like Cursor, product manager, when they're trying to use Cursor, they have to say I want to make this button more clear so that users are like not confused, right? When they use us, they don't need to be that specific. They can just say, here's my screenshot number one, here's my screenshot number two. People say that the second flow is confusing and they don't click on that button. Can you look into that and figure out the right flow? And then because we have AI product manager, we'll figure out how to really change the UI. So that's why like product manager uses us because they basically talking to a person who has some product sense. And that's easier when you work with somebody with some product sense. Then then the product manager hate to work with the best technical like engineer, but they don't have zero product sense. And then you have to do a lot of translation work, right? So we're that person. I think the thing where we fell short compared to maybe Cursor is number one, we don't work on super huge code base. So if your product is very complicated, we're not as good. The other part is like if you want to be very particular about this particular API, that you have to use this model and this particular parameter, we're not as good. But if you just say, I need to have some kind of GPT, some kind of image gen, we can probably hook you up with the fastest way that is most relevant. But if you say, no, I want to fine tune this particular model in this particular way, then we're not as good compared to Cursor or other folks.
I'm glad you mentioned Cursor because, like, I think there is maybe you know the space. There is like two case success
Right,
stories between Cursor and Devon. It's like the
right,
big debate. Cursor like went, I don't know how much valuation now, and
right.
Devon like absent. I shouldn't say ups and down. I don't know what they're doing, but like I've
It's
seen
too
like
early, huh? Too early to tell.
yeah, like but like I've seen they introduce a new kind of like I don't know about their pricing. They introduce a new pricing for people to try. I'm not sure. I didn't try it yet. So speaking of the agents and automation and all of the elements you can bring, for example, like hey boss can bring kind of to tech teams or product manager. And this answer more like a general question, a debate everywhere. Do you think like or do you think, and when do you think you can replace completely the dev team if it's possible? I mean, you personally, like, I mean, like beyond, like, I mean, like, it's still now you need a human in the loop or a human kind of piloting all these.
Yeah.
When or do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I have to say that for certain use cases, we've already precisely replaced the dev team, right? So today, I would say our sweet spot is anything that you use Wix and Squarespace that has some, like you have a website, you have a contact form, you have a payment flow, you have a reservation plan. A restaurant, you want to have a menu, people can order a table or something, and anything that's like more relatively like 0 to 1 web application. So you're a influencer, you want to have a influencer fan community where people can post stuff. So that's your own social network. That's your own course, like platform. For that kind of use cases, we have 100% replaced dev team, and that's why our target user for those actually are not product manager, not developer. They are just the influencer who are selling the courses. They are the owner of a restaurant. They're the owner of a music studio that makes music videos. So we already seeing a lot of users just literally just like talk to us. That's it. I think the type of thing. So I think for those use cases, especially starting with HeyBoss, we 100% replace the need to hire a Wix agency. They need to hire a Pakistani freelancer in Fiverr. I think the things that are relatively harder to fully replace in terms of final product is where there's a lot of engineers, there's legit software, and the code base is really large. You do need some human in the loop to make sure they follow the coding guidelines. It is like legit. I think Devon is trying to. They're quite ambitious. They're trying to replace developer, but I think they still need a lot of human moderation to make sure they're doing the right thing, because I think they're trying to precisely target the Facebook type of engineer, which are very hard to replace. But because we're trying to replace the freelancer in Fiverr, that's much, much easier that we can deliver the final result. I think Devon is not good enough to actually give you a finished like a software. I don't think they can do that because you still need software to monitor, a software engineer to monitor them. So I think that is going to take a while to fully replace a software engineer without any supervision. But I think for our use case, it's much, much easier.
I totally agree with you with this one. Like, I have like a friend of mine, like he also like CEO of company in Tokyo here, and they build like kind of software for banks. I don't see anytime soon yet like to kind of build those kind of like top experts. Speaking of like for example like now like back to hey boss like and CEO when you see like for example the current version of like Astra or probably will launch probably other products, when you what do you see in 2 years time, like this is going to evolve like for hey boss like.
Yeah, so I mean, Astra, just to give some context, is the name of the AI CEO who managed 6 AI employees. So right now we're at a stage where I think for certain use cases like what I described with Wix, Squarespace, some of those web application in Fiverr, we can 100% replace. But people still want some customization. So I think right now the feedback is typically how can we make AI more predictable in terms of if I want this feature, how many token will that burn? They want more predictability, and that is relatively hard because right now we don't really know. how much code this AI will do, and can they do, can we offer like a guarantee? People say, can you give me as a guarantee, like you will for sure finish this product at this price, and then instead of charging me token by token because it's
Mm.
unpredictable. So people want us to just give us a bunch of money, just give me the result. And I think that is the direction that we think is important to go. So if you think about Cursor or like Bolt, all of that, they're IDE, meaning they're not responsible for the final product. They're responsible for the process. And that typically only works for engineers or maybe product manager that understand that the process mattered. But for the 99% of the people who want the outcome, they don't care about the process. They don't want the process. They want the outcome. So I
Yeah.
think it's more about the transition from process to outcome. That is really, really important. That's number one. Number two is obviously, as you can see today, there's a limited context window, meaning like you can't just say make a Meta clone actually do a Facebook clone. It's very hard. There's like tens of millions, if not billions, of lines of code, and that's impossible for AI to look through, right? But I think my understanding is that all of this model, like provider OpenAI Cloud, they are all working on intensively expanding their context window. So it is possible that AI can fully automate a bigger project too. I think that is where, like on our end, when an application built on top of model, we're waiting for the model vendors to up their game so we can provide more functionalities as well. So that means the scope of the project can extend from like a Wix-like website to more like a community platform, to an influencer, to a full-fledged application, because the context window can be much, much bigger. That's number two. I think number three is more just like, how can we make sure that our AI can proactively learn things faster? Because there's always new AI tech, there's always new technology, new model, new API. How can we like proactively learn faster? Because users always have different ideas. But the other thing is also interesting is we see the software development process has changed because it's so easy to create something from scratch. Product manager doesn't need to write a full-fledged PRD and then let's do MAP. They can do 100 MAP all at once, right? People have been trying HeyBoss, for example. They just do 100 ideas all at once in 9 minutes. So it's not even 900 minutes. It's like in parallel 9 minutes, and they now have 100 ideas. And then they can run SEO for each of the idea to see which one clicks. And then they can predict, okay, this one works well. Let's keep it going. That one doesn't work well. Let's shut it down. So the iteration process has been extremely fast, and I think it's only going to get faster. And sometimes, we're seeing product manager, they're using ChatGPT to figure out what product feature to build, and they just copy paste into like HeyBoss, right? Some even like the non-technical people, they just copy paste ChatGPT. So you could only imagine in a really short amount of time, it will be like the users just say, "Here's my general idea," brainstorm me 100 execution, do it all at once, and run those model and to see which one does better, and then keep the one that's good and remove the one that's bad. So the product manager job has pivoted from I have to write down this product definement doc to here's my general idea. Let's look at the data. I think that is going to happen too.
That's definitely like a clear explanation. And I absolutely like. There is just one thing before like we can have a fire shot. One more question. Like for example, if Replit, Replit they
Right.
have like for example like because like ideally you want to like replace humans. I mean, build good products like or make it kind of easy for Replit. They have this kind of function like bounty or so, I don't know, I forgot what it's called. For example, when like they run their AI agent, and then for example there is kind of issue, it directly connects you with like a bounty hunter, a kind of a
Right.
freelancer kind of
It's
like
like
to
a
fix.
marketplace, right? Kind of a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
like this marketplace. Yeah.
Do you see, hey boss, because like do you see can you can introduce this kind of like function if somebody like I don't know like it's kind of freelancers like this to kind of get some job within Hey Boss, like to do that. I mean,
I mean, obviously, like because we care about the final result. So whatever that can help deliver the final result is whatever we're optimizing for. Right now, I think for certain use cases, we don't need human. We can do 100%. For certain use cases, we still need human. But I think maybe the Replit way, in my opinion, like my observation is that it's a marketplace. Anybody can submit a job, and there's people taking the
right.
job. But there's no like moderation to make sure the person who takes the job can actually do the job.
Mhm.
So I think for our customer, because they're not technical, they don't want to deal with a person who doesn't solve the job. They just want to make sure that result is delivered. So I think at some point there needs to be some standardization, kind of like Uber driver. They're predictable, right? But even for you guys, I'm assuming that you have some talent bar. So there needs to be
Right.
some way to guarantee the results is going to be accomplished. And I think right now, I don't think that bounty program has accomplished that yet.
Mm.
So we need to figure out the right way to make sure customers say, okay, I don't want to deal with that. Here's my money. Get handled. and you
Yeah.
actually get a handle. I think that's pretty difficult. Yeah, and then that's obviously something that we're working on as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So Xiaoyin, we're just gonna have a fire chat, and then we can close like with kind of
Yeah, that
future
sounds great.
projects about like hey boss. So just like quick questions, and then you can answer like with short answer. So one word. What's the future of AI? You see it?
Well, I think AI will replace a lot of jobs, but also introduce a lot of new jobs that is more about human being creative and also being very humanity, meaning that there's a lot of emotions related to human. There's a lot of trust building. So yeah, I think AI will replace a lot of jobs. It will introduce probably more new jobs.
Okay. Second question. What's your favorite AI tool, but it's not yours? like,
I love to use like Hilo. There's a video generation company. I
I
personally,
never
this is
heard
my
of it. I
favorite
gotta,
of all the video generation platform. I think that one has the best result. So I use that quite a lot. Yeah.
I gotta definitely try it. Okay, if you snap your finger right now, and like, what AI problems or like problem that you think AI could solve, you want to solve, like in the world?
I mean like I'm really interested in creativity, and they always say that people have a lot of ideas but you need to execute. But I think that because AI can execute, so now we're back to the ideas. Now it's like whoever has the best idea wins, right? So I think on our end, our goal is to make sure anybody with an idea will execute, make sure that happens. And so they can focus on the idea, we focus on execution. So I think that's my vision. If we can help everybody turn their idea into reality, then how many more Zuckerberg can we create? That would be really cool.
Okay, so the last question, what's the biggest myth in AI? You've seen it. There is a lot of hype. There is a lot of myths these days. AGI, SAI, blah blah. Like, what's the biggest myth in AI you see these days?
Miss as in something I don't believe in, or miss as
Yeah,
something I
kind
do
of.
believe
It just maybe doesn't happen. Like, I don't know, like something like people like there is some people like believe it's gonna be like superhumans and it's gonna be like sci-fi kind of thing. Like these days, like
in. I mean, like I'm never a really big fan of the term AGI because I feel like that's not really clear on what it means. I do think AI will replace a lot of jobs, but I don't necessarily worry about AGI destroying humanities. I would say I think that's overrated. I think there's a lot of things that humans still prefer human, and that is not going to be replaced by AI.
okay. Oh, I forgot one more question. So one thing, for example, like I think with Hey Boss, you had a pivot. What's one thing like you wish you knew before starting Hey Boss, like or pivoting or?
Well, I wish we started earlier, to be honest, because I didn't know that website and apps and games are pretty similar. We thought those are not the same thing. So I guess when there's a lot of buzz about Kurse and all of that building website, we thought, okay, that's not our lane. But it's only when we like, just like might as well test it. We realized, you know what, we actually are doing better job because it's much harder to make the game like fun than making a website pretty. And so I wish I started earlier.
Oh, okay. That's sometimes like also like yeah, like, I had a couple ideas and then sometimes I see them like on already some being launched and I'm like, I wish I also started. Like I think it's like a founder syndrome. I think I watched one of your videos like I think I think probably like the Forbes one, like when you mentioned like it doesn't matter like kind of how many times you fail, right?
Correct.
Um and
Just do
sometimes like yeah,
it.
you just gotta be right one time. I think who said it also like that billionaire? Is it Mark Cuban or something? He was mentioning it. You have to be just right one time. And sometimes when you see those ideas, they were just in back in your head, and then you just like, I wish I just started. you know?
I know, right? So I mean, now Hey Boss hopefully can help. When you take a shower, you have an idea, write it down to Hey Boss, make it
That's
happen.
that's
Don't forget about it.
that's great. Definitely like So just like for closing, like anything like about like you want to share about Hey Boss. I think I've seen like you guys like have a hackathon. You are giving a
Right.
reward $10,000. Like can you
we're,
tell
we're
us
giving
more
away
about?
10,000. We're giving away $10,000 US dollars in cash for a hackathon. And the surprising thing about hackathon is that our hackathon probably takes 15 minutes to execute because you type your idea in like what 10 seconds. Then AI will build it in 9 minutes. Maybe you can ask AI to change a few things, and then you can submit it in 15 minutes. So we are probably creating the. If you can make like $10,000 in 15 minutes, that sounds a pretty good deal. So you guys should join.
Yeah, for sure. Like yeah, as you heard it, guys. So don't forget, like, yeah, take it shot, like $10,000. Like I probably.
Oh yeah, it's the only hackathon that does not compete on technical skills because AI got a handle. Is the hackathon that compete on your ideas. Really believe now is the ideas guy's future. So whoever that has an idea, if you have in the shower while driving to work, write it down. Join our hackathon, make money.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Xiaoyin, thanks so much for being on the show. And see you soon.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, take
Appreciate it.
care.